Hello and welcome back everybody to the Foodbuild factory, where today we're going to take a look at the Robco Agent, and that's the lovely guy you can see on screen right now. Now, as always, we're going to take a look at some gameplay in the first part of the video, and in the latter half of the video we're going to take a look at perks, mutations, and everything you need to know about the character. Now, what is this character going to be about? On this occasion it's one of those more, well, wackier kind of characters. I haven't done them in a while. Last time it was around the Gamma Gun. Now, this time it could be kind of similar, I guess. The thing is, we're using a weapon that you probably never seen in action, unless you maybe picked one up and wanted to give it a try, but after like 2 or 3 shots you probably scrapped that shit. Simply because the Assaultron Head, while on paper it's a good weapon, it has some very big flaws that honestly there's not a lot of ways to overcome those flaws. And what are the flaws I'm talking about? Well, first and foremost, you need to charge this thing up in order to do proper damage. So in order to do damage, like you have the ability to reload 5 times, so to speak. Every time you reload, another shot gets added. You do actually use up fusion cells with every single crank, so a fully cranked shot will shoot 5 fusion cells at once. And, well, you can do a lot of damage. That's not the problem of the weapon. The problem is that you actually have to reload it all the time. And furthermore, it's not really suited for stealth. It has another problem that it irradiates the user whenever you shoot, which we're having a Chinese stealth suit equipped, which has actually the same radiation resistance than the hazmat suit has. So the radiation isn't the problem for us. Though, if you're using this on a, well, chalk standard character, well, good luck surviving more than a few shots, because actually the radiation it gives you is, well, it's a bunch. Like, I don't really know exactly, but I'd say after 20 shots without red away, you probably are pretty much at the end of your HP bar. And furthermore, this means, like, well, if you're a bloodied character, pretty much forget about this weapon instantly, because it's going to kill you within 2 shots probably. Which, yeah, as I said, is one of the other flaws. And the last flaw that I can count on is, well, this thing is genuinely bugged in VATS. Like, it's not bugged in the sense of hit chance, like with other weapons, like gauss weapons for example. But this time around the bug is even worse, because it means you're not dealing proper damage in VATS. I may be able to show that off later in the video, but, well, trust me when I say that the problem is you're only dealing the damage of your first shot instead of the other 4. No matter where you're hitting or how you're hitting, it doesn't really matter. You're always going to do just about 50 damage or something. It's actually terrible. So we're going to use this completely without VATS, which is something I'm not doing very often. As some of you may know, I'm a big fan of VATS, even in this game. But, well, we have to live without it. Now, how did we overcome these flaws? Now, in this case, we're using a very stealthy character combined with the Chinese stealth armor. That means that we can successfully pull off VATS most of the time, and even when VATS fails us, we have the ability to just gain the caution pretty much instantly by just standing up and crouching again low. If you see this, we're in danger. Now we're back into caution. If you're getting swarmed by a lot of enemies, this can definitely go wrong, but on pretty much all the cases, yeah, you're going to be fine most of the time. And if you're really in one of those hard situations where this isn't enough, well, just make a quick retreat and get around the corner and do the same thing, and then at least then you're going to be fine. Now, as you can see here, we're actually doing fairly well, which is something that surprised me. Like, I thought actually no matter how stealthy we're going to be, we're never going to be able to do more than one shot without getting detected. But as long as you can keep some range, yeah, it's actually not all that bad. I even tried myself at the West Tech Center, and believe it or not, except for the very last room, I had barely any problems, and even the last room was manageable with some jumping around, some retreats and such, but it was definitely manageable. Now, when I wanted to do this character, my first approach wasn't stealth, actually, obviously, but rather I wanted to do a little trick that I see people use that want to make builds around black powder rifles, which, well, why not really a common thing? People tend to do that. Like, I know someone at least who tried it. And what he did is he just assembled a lot of different black powder rifles and just hotkeyed them on his favorite wheel, which means he can, well, use like 5 or so of them without reloading. Now, obviously that means he has to prepare before a fight, has to reload all of them, but he manages to do quite fine. Like, obviously, this is one of those characters which has pure role-playing potential. It's never going to be the best character for whatever you want to do. So if you decide to go for this character, there's only one real reason you want to do that, and that is role-playing. Now, this was just darn stupid, to be honest. I should have just retreated and taken my time to actually do a headshot. But yeah, I was kind of distracted by talking again, which is something that happens to me quite a lot. Well, anyways, you're going to see it. I mean, as I said, this is not going to be the best character, so there's always going to be a better option. Now, on this occasion, like everything we're doing here, you could do probably better with the Gauss pistol, for example. But we wanted to make use of the Assaultron Head, and that's what we're doing here. Now, what I could say is that I'm using an instigating version here, and even though I really tried to keep track of damage numbers, I actually had a hard time to confirm how the instigating effect on this thing works. So I had a slight suspicion that maybe only the first charge will be affected by the instigating effect. However, I actually can't really tell it. I guess still that instigating is a pretty good effect for this weapon, but another effect that's very good is quad, actually, for the simple reason that the weapon is strong enough to take down most enemies with 5 ranks charged, and for occasions where it isn't strong enough, a quad version is actually able to, as the name suggests, hold quadruple the ammo capacity, meaning you can crank this thing up to 20 shots and therefore dealing a lot of damage. Now, this obviously takes more time, but as we are a stealth character, we usually do have time. Now, as you can see here, we're back into caution, and this guy here still thinks we're up there. Now, unfortunately, we missed, but as you can see here, we're back into caution very easily. Now, the effectiveness of this character, as you can probably tell, basically relies to the most part not on a good weapon or a good build per se, but the simple fact that in this game you can be extremely stealthy. Now, especially the Escape Artist perk is really powerful. Like, you can always gain stealth back no matter what. And well, now we finished this here. Well, I guess let's clear top of the world and then make a beeline or a fast travel to somewhere where we can find super mutants, and then that should be it for the gameplay. I think you can probably tell how this thing here works. Now, obviously, in interiors, you're having a bit of a harder time sneaking. However, it's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. And something I completely forgot about to finish, actually. I started talking about how my first approach was to use multiple versions of Assaultron Heads. But yeah, I never finished that point. Now let's get back to that. So what I wanted to say is that my first approach was to carry like 4 Assaultron Heads or something, charge them up before I go into battle, and then use them one by one, and only recharge them once the battle is done. So the sad thing, however, is that this doesn't really work, for the simple reason that whenever you're changing weapons, the next time you're equipping the weapon, its charge is back to 0. So yeah, that approach was gone pretty quickly, and for the longest time I didn't really know what to do. Like, I really wanted to make use of this weapon, and yeah, so I gave another try for the simple... what I wanted to do was actually to use the Chinese stealth armor simply for the radiation resistance, because I thought that was something very bad. The other idea I had was making a power armor gunslinger, which would be kind of cool because I never seen one, but you're still getting swarmed very easily for the simple reason that you have to reload so often. So the moment you're facing like 4 or 5 super mutants, you really get into problems because they're all hacking and slashing at you, which, I mean, you can pull it off with power armor, that's not the problem, you can survive such things, but it wasn't really fun, let's say that way. It was just a waiting game. And I felt with stealth, actually the time you use to reallocate yourself is, I mean, you don't do anything else in the meantime. So reloading your weapon in the meantime while you get into a new position is actually not at all that bad. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised how much fun it is to use this build. It actually helps you get a little bit more into stealth into this game, honestly, simply because it's hard to stay hidden, and you really get after a while you really get a little bit of a feel for the stealth mechanics in this game. Now, things like line of sight and different brightness and such. For example, if you can kill something and immediately go around the corner and you find that, yeah, it's harder to detect you. Like, I mean, this should be, or should sound obvious, but this is not something that was always the case in Bethesda games. So yeah. Now, anyways, I'm going to fast travel to I guess Huntersville. We're going to see us there. Now, here we are. So, let's get into Huntersville. Now, this was the first real challenge I set myself with this character, and yet again I was surprised by how well it was going. Now, I did it a few times, and the results were a bit unstable, to say it like that. So, sometimes it went surprisingly well, sometimes it went like pretty much how I thought it would, but well, it looks like it's going fine. Now, as you can see, even high-level ghouls, super mutants, aren't a problem if we can maintain stealth. Now, the thing where it gets tricky are these guys here, where they are more clustered. But to be honest, if we're getting our shots right, I actually prefer manual aiming here, which I shouldn't have preferred, to be honest. You can actually do pretty well here. Now, one thing I tend to say quite a lot is that, yet again, this is one of those characters that really benefits from player skill, which means you're not going to see full potential of this character in my hands, because actually I'm not a good gamer or anything. I'm pretty much terrible at aiming. What you want to do is you want to kill off these super mutant hounds relatively quickly, because they can swarm you and their bites are terrifying. Now, they can easily overrun you, especially if there are 2 of them or something. They can easily overwhelm you. Now, other than with most builds, You don't want to take every first chance to shoot. You want to wait a second in order to get a headshot in, which I fucked up in this case. Now, this is where we get swarmed, but one quick walk around the corner and we're back into caution. Now, they lose track of us again. They have slight suspicions where we are, but I feel like I haven't charged my weapon fully here. I guess that was the problem. Now, you see I'm getting overwhelmed by things. I'm not the smartest guy. So, where the fuck am I? Alright. It's getting worse, guys. Alright, here we are back. Take off this guy. Now, as you can see, there are 5 of them, but now I felt like this was a headshot, but anyway, it was enough. Reallocate. Pretty much you're going to circle around your enemies with a bit of a distance. That's pretty much the approach you want to take. Now, they're always gonna search at the wrong place. Now, this one here already damaged. The others have no clear line of sight to us, so they can't possibly know where we are. Alright, there's a legendary one. We want to keep him alive for a time, or, well, we actually had a good chance to give him a headshot there, so we took that. Has he regenerated? Yeah, perfect. Now, with a good headshot, we can one-shot those guys, especially at level 61. That shouldn't even be all that much of a problem. Now, this was another one where I felt like this should have been a hit, but, well, anyways. Okay, level 75, I think we can afford not to go for a headshot, which was stupid. We should have gone for a headshot. As you can see here, the build, it's not bad, because obviously you can just always go back into stealth and be safe. It's time consuming though, so that's the big reason why I say it's only a role-playing character. I mean, you can still relatively sufficiently farm areas, but you're never going to be as efficient as you were with, let's say, a Gauss pistol, or even a 10mm, I think, would outperform us here. However, you can really learn how to use this weapon effectively, and you really see a difference over time, getting more and more into it. And then the last thing I'm going to say about it is, I'm actually, yeah, the build isn't fully done, so I was getting into it relatively quickly, and, well, the problem is I have every necessary perk. It's rather that on this occasion there's quite a lot of perks you actually don't need, and therefore you have a lot of room for convenience perks, believe it or not. Because actually there's not so much you can do for the character, actually. For example, a lot of the damage perks you would usually consider to take, like Tenderizer and such, are actually, well, more or less useless for this character, for the simple reason that it reloads so slowly. And as you saw, the damage isn't really our problem. Like, as long as we can get stealth attacks in, yeah, we can do well. It's not a problem. Though it's actually not a given that we can do a follow-up shot within 10 seconds, believe it or not. Or, well, a lot of the VETS perks we usually use are completely irrelevant, because we're never going to use VETS. There's simply quite a lot you don't need for this character, and therefore I decided to use the character as it is now, because everything I would have changed from here on are actually convenience perks, like throwing in more carry weight perks or food perks and such. Now, what you could do with this character, you could actually invest quite a lot into charisma or something, so you could do something you're not usually doing. But yes, in terms of damage and combat effectiveness, this is pretty much as effective as it gets, I guess, with the Assaultron Head. Now, one thing you could possibly do is you could run this as a low health character if you're using the Chinese stealth armor. However, I don't feel like it's worth it, and I actually feel like you're not going to get all that much out of it, to be honest, because you still have to use the Chinese stealth armor, so all the special stat bonuses you usually get from your unyielding armor with low health builds are not there. So you're only getting the damage boost, and I'm not quite sure, like, I mean, obviously if you're fighting a sheep squatch or a scorch beast, you could benefit from it, but I mean, by the way, I'm not going to kill those guys because that's just simply humans, and we already seen how they go down. Only thing I wanted to do here is up there. There should be a Deathclaw that spawns, and that will be the last thing we're going to take down. Now that I'm here, by the way, one thing I do really like about the character is this aesthetic being here, like this see-through character with this occasional light coming off of him. I think that's pretty cool. Also in first person, you gotta say it's a shame the weapon is pretty bad actually, because in all fairness, the Assaultron Head is a really cool weapon. Like, I really love the style of it, and I wish it would be more convenient to use, let's say it that way, because it's not bad. Now, one thing that you can really do in pretty much every character in this game, you can really fuck with the pathing of the AI, simply because, especially with Marsupial, you can pretty much always get into places where the AI can really reach you, which it feels a bit cheating, but it's actually a pretty core part of the game in my opinion. Like, melee enemies in this game, unless they are locked into a room with you, they can always be easily avoided. Now, as you saw here, not a problem taking on this Deathclaw. We could easily stay in stealth, and our damage was good enough. Now, by the way, I know that the weak spot of the Deathclaws is the belly. However, I still feel like oftentimes shots to the head do more damage. I'm not sure why that is. I feel like in Fallout 4 that was not the case, but I still feel like headshots are the go-to approach. Now, anyways, guys, this is everything in terms of gameplay. Now, if you liked what you saw or think that this could be a fun challenge for your character or something, by the way, cool little aspect of the helmet, the Assaultron helmet. It's closed whenever you take out your weapon. When you take away your weapon, the helmet opens. Now, if you want to recreate that here, now we are going to get into detail. So first and foremost, our mutations. We do have Bird Bones, Chameleon, Eagle Eyes, Marsupial, Speed Demon, and Unstable Isotope. Now, on this occasion, the only thing we would need is Bird Bones, Marsupial, and Speed Demon. So Chameleon, we obviously have Chameleon armor, like, well, not Chameleon armor, but the Chinese stealth armor, so it's armor, therefore Chameleon doesn't do us any favor. It's just there because it was there and it doesn't hurt us. Now, Eagle Eyes, yet again, we're not using that, so Eagle Eyes isn't necessary for us. However, the minus strength doesn't hurt us either, so therefore I just left it in. I didn't feel like changing a lot of the mutations around in order to get away with more strength, which we're not going to use anyway. Now, Speed Demon and Marsupial. Speed Demon, arguably, I never done a character where Speed Demon is more important, simply because we're spending so much time reloading that Speed Demon, yeah, it's definitely necessary here. And Marsupial, well, you saw it, we want to reach certain places very fast in order to reallocate our character once we're hidden, once we're detected. Getting back into hidden and jump some edges, jump on a rooftop or something. It really helps us with staying hidden. And also, we wanna, if we can, we always want to have the high ground. simply because we can get better headshots from there. Now, last thing, unstable isotope, it's just a leftover, didn't hurt us. I think we saw it go off once in the video, but I'm not exactly sure. Now, yeah, bird bones, we want the extra agility to be more stealthy. That's about it. Now, in terms of equipment, here it is, the instigating faster fire rate Assaultron Head. Now, faster fire rate, honestly, I mean, it shouldn't do us any benefit, simply because how fast we shoot isn't determined by how fast we can shoot, but how fast we reload. So fast fire rate shouldn't do us any favor, and if it does, I didn't really see it. So yeah, this is, for all intents and purposes, this is an instigating Assaultron Head, a 1-star actually. So yeah, there it is. As I said, quad would be a very nice option. I guess anti-armor would do fine. Junkie's probably a good idea too. Now, Furious, arguably not good, obviously. And well, as for the rest, you do know, like, obviously if you have a Hunter's one for Deathclaws or something, I mean, it could be fun to carry around multiple of them. They're dirt cheap, like no one wants them. They're basically script weapons most of the time. Now, I guess if you were to get hands on a legacy one, an explosive one, that could be relatively cool, especially since I heard that those don't irradiate you, so you can get away with completely different character. But well, anyways, that's the weapon. No mods or anything, so you could actually pull this off with a level 1 intelligence character. You don't have to craft anything here. Now, in terms of equipment, I said it like 5 times, but here it is, the Chinese stealth armor. You know where to get this and what it is. It's nothing out of the ordinary here. And we do have an Assaultron helmet. Now, obviously, you could also use the whatever you like. I felt like it was fitting. And let's get on to the perks. On this occasion, I actually went through the effort to unequip all my legendary perks. Those were all legendary agility, luck, intelligence, and so on. The only thing I kept was one rank of Ward Reds for the simple convenience. We're irradiating ourselves so few that the 1 red per second we're losing actually is enough, so we never have to use any red away. Now, you can totally live without it. I said it in the beginning of the video. Honestly, I think 1 red away, an hour or half an hour should do the trick. You shouldn't have any trouble. And follow through I left in because, well, we're not getting any benefit from it anyway, most of the time. Like, maybe when fighting a Scorch Beast or something, but I guess that probably usually when we're fighting something tougher, we get detected and gain stealth back, so I guess that follow through won't work anyways. Yeah. Back to the perks. Now, Strength 5, Traveling Pharmacy, and Bandolier. Now, you can obviously go down to 1 here if you don't carry a lot of chems and don't carry any ballistic ammo. You can pull off Strength 1 without a problem. Now, Perception, we do have Tank Killer, Crackshot, and Glow Sight. These 3 I would really use. Not that we need high perception on this case, but well, Crankshot and Tank Killer. Tank Killer, better armor penetration, it's a no-brainer in this case. It does affect pistols. Crackshot, now a bit more range and accuracy is a nice thing to have, since we're already aiming down sights all the time. And Glow Sight, well, we actually have the problem, which is a luxury, to not know where our perk points go here. So we can actually pull off something like this, where we invest into convenience perks. Or in this case, I mean, Glow Sight isn't a convenience perk, but it's relatively situationary. But for those situations where we have to take down a glowing high-level ghoul or something, yeah, you want a slight edge in terms of damage in order to maybe one-shot that guy too. High-level glowing ghoul, I think I fought like 2 or 3 of them. They don't go down in one shot, but we're talking about 2 headshots, I think, then it's down. And lastly, in order to not change too much of the build, I used the 2 remaining perk points I had in order to rank up Exterminator. Now, this can really help once we're getting against scorpions and such. I mean, scorpions aren't insects, but you know the game handles this a bit differently. Onto endurance, life giver, and fireproof. Now, we don't need a lot of endurance since we're already trying to be hidden all the time. Fireproof, I mean, on this occasion fireproof is actually really worth it, more so than on other characters, because we don't have a dense chest piece. Now, fireproof, this is a given, but life giver, well, do whatever you like here. I was tempted to go with good doggy and cola nut, but I had quite some purified water and some ribeye steaks on me, so I didn't feel like this was necessary on this case. Lone Wanderer, rank 4. Now, you know the thrill, I said it. You do have a lot of room to change up things here. So you could actually pull off a high charisma character for once, or put more into endurance, put a lot of points into intelligence maybe. It's really up to you. Now, all the perks we need actually are in perception, agility, and, well, a few in luck, but not even a lot. Now, onto intelligence, batteries included. Now, obviously, we're using energy ammo. As you saw, I don't have a lot of it on me, but if you're carrying like 8k fusion cells or something, you're burning through them quite fast, by the way. Yeah, batteries included is a good idea. First aid. Now, same as before, we need to fill in our gaps with something. Now, you could use gunsmith, but on this occasion I actually don't really think it's worth it, because the condition of the weapon, I fully repaired it before the video, and as you can see here, we barely have any problems. So gunsmith, arguably not worth it. So I went for first aid for the situations when we get detected, and the last perk I had over was hacker, simply because we had the room here. Now, agility 15, this is a must-have. Now, covert operative, gunslinger, expert gunslinger, sneak, and escape artist, these are necessary for the build. In a perfect world, you don't want to use through hiker, but rank 2 of master gunslinger, just to give us a little bit more damage. I just didn't have the perks here, and didn't have the level ups in order to change things perfectly, so I used through hiker here. However, you can definitely live without it and can squeeze out a little bit more damage here. And onto bloody mess, onto luck. Bloody mess here. This is actually one of the only real benefits from luck we have, together with starched jeans. Now the rest here, yet again, we just filled in the gaps. Now I used rank 1 of serendipity and ricochet for a little bit of damage reduction going on during fights, but yeah, arguably, yet again, not necessary. And, well, quick hands, I'm still not convinced, to be honest. Like, I have the slight edge that, the slight thinking that sometimes you get one shot loaded in. But you're definitely, I never seen it trigger so far as to have a fully cranked up shot after it procs. So if it works, it only gives you like one crank or something, so it's not worth it either. But yeah, I leveled up because I thought this could be a good idea for the build. However, as you see and hear me talking, there's actually very much room for freedom in this build. Like, arguably you only need agility here and some of the perception perks. The rest is actually completely up to you, which is for once a good thing. Like, there's a lot of room. You could invest into hacker for once. You could invest into picklock, however legendary perks made it irrelevant. But yeah, you could completely invest into another weapon category probably. Now anyways, this is about it. Last thing we're going to do here, going to take a look at the picture I taken. Not deleted, always doing the same problem. Now I hope you enjoyed the video. Last thing I wanted to say is check out my buddy Oxy23 if you're interested in character builds. Now, especially if you're looking for endgame builds, he's more focused from what I saw on endgame builds, like meaning bloodied builds, high level stealth gunners with good equipment and such. Really good builds, nice content. I just watched the videos, highly appreciate it. Now, if you want to check him out, I'm gonna link him in the description below. So anyways, have a good day guys, hope you enjoyed the video, bye.